And then I got a call from Jerry Lindsay, who was the dean of the School of Architecture and Planning at Howard University. And I had met Jerry Lindsay through a very good friend of mine who was probably one of my closest personal friends, who was a planner named Joyce Whitley out of Cleveland. Joyce's brothers were architects, and she was a planner. Jerry had called her saying, "I need a chair for my Department of City and Regional Planning. Do you have anybody in mind?" Because Joyce was in the private sector. He knew she wasn't going to come. She said, "Why don't you call up Yvonne?" And he called me up, and I left Philadelphia and went to Howard, served as chair of the Department of City and Regional Planning until Pat Harris sent Bob Embry to invite me to be Deputy Assistant Secretary, because I had had interface with her. And I was doing what I've always done, which is writing, speaking out, the confrontation with the editors and the editorial board of the Washington Post about how poorly they were treating and representing African Americans that I told about earlier, with Vernon Jordan and Carl Holman, and sitting down Eddie Williams saying, "You got to stop this." She knew who I was, and she said, "Go ask her if she will be the Deputy Assistant Secretary for," it was a long title, but it was for planning. The day that I got there, she had decided to make changes in the urban policy structure, which President Carter had created and handed to her to chair. And she then said, "I want you to be executive director of the President's Urban and Regional Policy Task Force." So I did 2 jobs for a year, and then the policy was finished. And I stayed on 1 other year as Deputy Assistant Secretary, not doing the policy. The policy went to the White House. My position is, don't ever try to run anything in the White House. You will lose.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure.
I didn't want to do that.